Now, I have listened to some of America's best and brightest, some of the most renowned gender studies professors and colonial studies professor and race studies professors, and they have studied hard on the benches of the American academia and came to the conclusion that the human biology as we know it was wrong. Because you see, human beings do not multiply by having babies. No, no, no. That's outdated. That is patriarchal. The way human beings multiply is by voting Democrat and then praying to Joe Biden to open the borders. And Joe Biden opens the borders, and then people come in, and that's how human beings multiply. Apparently, the Japanese government, much like Israel, disagree with this tactic, and they're basically saying, no, we need babies, we need marriages, much to the horror and dismay of woke-oriented individuals. And they're making this app that is kind of like Tinder, but not really. You see, the purpose of Tinder is usually to hook up. The purpose of this app is to get married. I told you, it's much to the horror and dismay of woke-oriented individuals. And when you sign up to this app, you're going to have to give your height, very important. I mean, your height, your education, your salary. You gotta give all of this, but you don't have to give your tit size, right? Tit size not important. Height, crucial to the well-being of the app. Right, so all jokes aside, though, I do appreciate this mindset that we need more humans. Like more. How many? More. The new generation needs to have more than the previous generation. And the generation after that needs to also have more. And the generation after the next generation, even more. And more. And more. And the question is like, is it okay if at some point it will stop? And the answer seems to be no. Always more. Constantly. And I don't know if it's even achievable, like if it's even possible. Like, no, I get it that in the now, we can actually have more humans. Like, there are resources to have more humans. But there will be a point in time when more humans may not be feasible, like unless we colonize other planets, of course. But my point with this is that if you look at human history, it is actually normal for populations to experience declines and then followed by growths, right? Like you get a period of decline, followed by a period of growth, followed by another period of decline. It's kind of like waves. But for some reason, now the mentality is more. Like, okay, fine. You want more people, I will give you the solution to that. Remove welfare. Are they going to do it? No. Why is removing welfare important? Well, it's very simple. During the time of my great-grandmother, God rest her soul, and yes, that's how long ago welfare wasn't a thing. If you wanted to have an easy life when you got older, you needed to have kids. Because there was no pension. There was no social security. There was nothing. So, you went to work, you got a job, and you fed yourself and your family. But the problem is that when you got old and you couldn't work, as I mentioned before, there was absolutely nothing. So the way people made do was to have children. So you have like 6 or 7 kids in the hopes that at least 2 of them aren't going to be assholes. And when you're old, you're going to have those 2 kids taking care of you. Just like you took care of them when you were raising them. So that is how things used to work. Now it's not like that. Now you can have no kids if you want. You can have an army of cats and live in cat's piss. Like, that's fine. And when you go old, some other dumbass is going to pay for you. Right? Like, when I go to work, the government taxes me and takes my money by force. I can't give that money to my wife. I can't give that money to my kids. No, I have to give my money to some chucklehead that I don't even know. And of course, the government also takes a cut, right? So like the fat lady that works for the government, she takes a cut as well. And that's welfare. So when you have that level of economy, when people think, oh, it's fine, I don't need to have kids. Some other dumbass is going to pay for me when I'm old. Well, the problem happens when more people make that decision. Because it's fine if one person is like that, but when you have a significant enough number, then the dumbasses that actually work for a living are not going to be able to pay for all the strangers that they have no responsibility to pay for anyway. And then you have the problem where the government is freaking out and they're in a crisis and they don't know where they're going to get the money from. And maybe we can get immigrants, but oh shit, like that didn't work. Maybe we can make a dating app, but that is the problem of modern economy. In other countries, you don't have this problem. In countries where there is no welfare, no, people have kids. You don't give a shit. My favorite quote of all time is, we don't have money to have kids. And you look at these two motherfuckers, and they're university educated. They earn more than the top 5% of the world. And they don't have enough money to have kids. And meanwhile, you go back in human history, you look at medieval peasants that had a single hovel and 20 kids. So how the fuck did they do it? And the answer is because they knew they had no choice. There was no welfare, there was no government intervention, there was nothing. Like, you had to have kids. So now you have, like, people that live in their own apartments that, go to work at the hospital because they're doctors and they don't have enough money to have kids. In other words, that's fine. Some other moron is going to make kids for me so that when I'm old, they're going to be taxed and I'm going to be fed. And they're going to pay for my pills, and they're going to pay for everything else. Like, that's fine. Let the other morons do it. And if other morons from my country aren't going to do it, we're going to take some, we're going to brain drain some other nations. And this is the modern economy. This is the modern system. And unless you address this problem, it doesn't matter what ideology you have. Oh, there's too much porn on the internet. Oh, dating apps are the issue. Oh, blah, 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 blah. No, like, you can get rid of all of those. And if the welfare stays, the problem stays. Assuming that it's a problem, because, again, I generally don't care about it as much. It's like, oh, people are going to have less kids now. I mean, humanity has survived the Black Death. Humanity has survived World War I and World War II. Humanity has survived all sorts of calamities. I think it's going to survive this. I think what's going to happen is that by having less kids, the financial system is going to eventually collapse at some point. And then there's going to be poverty, and then there's going to be misery, and then there's going to be hunger and famine. People are going to be poor, and people are going to start having kids again. Because they're going to realize, oh shit, I can't get handouts from the government because the government literally cannot collect money from people because they're already poor. So when that happens, then people will have kids. And then you're going to have the economic growth again. And also, all the people that went to other countries, not because they like the culture, not because they like to integrate, but because they like free shit, well, when the gravy train stops, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to go back. Like, all the problems are going to be fixed by themselves. Because I know welfare isn't going to be cut, that's for sure. So let me know what you think, and if you like the channel, there's a link into the pinned comment. It takes you over to my Subscribe Star, where you can donate and you can get the best buyer's remorse possible. And I'll see you guys later. Take care.